Hey everyone, and welcome back for another deep dive.
Yeah, always exciting to see what we uncover.
And today we're focusing on a specific date.
A single day, huh?
You got it, October 31st.
Interesting.
We'll be uncovering the hidden stories and significance of this date throughout history.
Sounds like fun.
Our main source for this deep dive is the Arabic Wikipedia page for 31 Ansheh.
Okay, cool.
It's amazing what we found just on this single page.
I bet.
We're talking about religious revolutions, political assassinations, scientific discoveries, and even tragic accidents,
Wow. All happening on the same day.
all converging on October 31st.
It makes you think, is it just coincidence, or is there something about October 31st that attracts these pivotal moments?
Right. It's a really good question.
Yeah.
So let's get oriented first.
Okay.
We know October 31st is the 304th day of the year in the Gregorian calendar.
Right. The one most of us use.
Exactly. But to get a truly global perspective, we need to think beyond our familiar calendar system.
I like.
Did you know that in the Islamic calendar, October 31st, 2024, actually falls on the 28th of Rabi's al-Akhir, 1446 AH?
Huh. That's interesting. I didn't know that.
Yeah, it's a great reminder that time itself is measured differently across cultures,
For sure.
and yet certain dates seem to resonate across these differences.
Yeah, they take on this universal significance.
Exactly.
So where do we start with October 31st?
Well, let's rewind the clock all the way back to 1517.
Okay, 1517.
Imagine a young monk named Martin Luther.
Oh, yeah.
He was deeply troubled by what he saw as corruption within the Catholic Church.
A lot of people were at that time.
And on October 31st, he nails his famous 95 Theses to the door of All Saints Church in Wittenberg.
Wow, what a bold move.
I know, right? What might seem like a simple act of protest actually ignited the Protestant Reformation.
It's true, a single act can sometimes have huge ripple
A
effects
seismic shift that shattered the unity of the Catholic Church.
and change the course of history.
Absolutely. And set off shockwaves that would reshape the religious and political landscape of Europe and beyond.
Crazy to think about it.
Talk about a butterfly effect.
Truly.
And, it's not just religious upheavals on this date.
Oh, there's more?
Yeah. Fast forward to 1858, and we see the British government taking direct control of India from the East India Company.
Interesting.
This wasn't just a transfer of power.
It was way more than that.
Yeah, it was a turning point in British colonialism.
Oh, wow.
It marked the formal integration of India into the British Empire.
So a new era of imperial control.
Exactly.
It's wild how October 31st saw these huge changes.
I know, it's incredible how it witnessed the birth and death of nations, the rise and fall of empires.
It makes you wonder what else happened on this day.
Right. And remember how you mentioned those smaller moments too?
Oh, yeah, of course.
Well, on that same day, in 1864, Nevada officially joined the United States as the 36th state.
Huh. That's cool. A little fun fact for our listeners.
Yeah, it goes to show that even amidst these sweeping changes, everyday life continues.
I like that perspective.
New chapters begin, and the fabric of history is woven with threads both grand and seemingly ordinary.
Okay, so we talked about 1517 and 1858.
What do you say we jump into the 20th century now?
Let's do it.
Things get really intense.
Oh, I'm sure they do.
In 1917, during the heat of World War I, Allied forces managed to capture the city of Beersheba in Palestine.
Beersheba, huh?
Yeah, now this might seem like just another battle.
But it wasn't.
It was actually a crucial turning point in the Sinai and Palestine campaign.
I see.
Beersheba was a strategic hub, and its capture paved the way for the eventual Allied victory in the region.
So a seemingly small event had a big impact.
Exactly. It's a prime example of how even amidst global conflict, specific dates can become microcosms of larger strategic shifts.
Okay, I'm starting to see the significance of focusing on a single day.
And speaking of conflict, on October 31st, 1940, during World War II, the Germans made a rather audacious move.
What did they do?
They falsely declared victory over the United Kingdom.
Wow, seriously?
Can you believe that?
Talk about propaganda.
It's a stark reminder of the power of propaganda.
And how nations, even when they're facing setbacks, try to control the narrative during wartime.
For sure, a phenomenon that unfortunately still resonates today.
It definitely does.
Fake news is nothing new, it seems.
Sadly not.
But the reality on the ground was far different from the propaganda.
I can imagine.
Just a few years later, in 1956, the world was gripped by the Suez Crisis.
Oh, yeah, the Suez Crisis.
This is where things get really complex.
Okay, fill me in.
So Egypt's nationalization of the Suez Canal triggered a chain reaction.
Makes sense.
France and the UK, fearing the loss of control over this vital waterway, launched airstrikes against Egypt.
Wow.
And this wasn't just a regional conflict.
So this involved more than just those three countries.
Yeah, it exposed the deep fault lines of the Cold War, with the Soviet Union backing Egypt and the West supporting France and the UK.
So proxy war.
Exactly. It's fascinating how a single event on a single day can bring simmering global tensions to the surface.
Yeah, it's kind of scary, actually.
While this international drama was unfolding, another significant event took place in 1961.
This is all still on October 31st, right?
Yep, this time within the Soviet Union.
Okay, what happened there?
Stalin's body, which had been on public display alongside Lenin's in Moscow's Red Square, was removed from the mausoleum.
Wow, what a powerful symbol.
It might seem like a symbolic gesture.
But it was more than that.
Exactly. It represented a profound shift in Soviet politics.
I can see that.
Khrushchev, in his efforts to de-Stalinize the nation, was distancing himself from the brutal legacy of Stalin's rule.
So a symbolic act with real-world consequences.
And it's incredible how a seemingly simple act can hold such weighty historical significance.
It's fascinating.
And while one nation was wrestling with its past, another was taking its first steps towards a new future.
Oh, that's interesting. A nice juxtaposition.
On that very same day in 1962, Yemen adopted its first constitution
Wow, a new beginning.
and elected Abdullah al-Salal as its president.
So a day of beginnings and endings.
It's a reminder that even in a world marked by conflict and upheaval, there are always stories of hope and self-determination unfolding.
You're right, it's not all doom and gloom.
October 31st witnessed not only destruction, but also the creation and progress of nations striving for independence and stability.
I like that perspective.
And then a date forever etched in tragedy. October 31st, 1984.
This sounds ominous.
Indian Prime Minister Indira Gandhi was assassinated by her own bodyguards.
Wow, that's awful.
This assassination, fueled by political and religious tensions, sent shockwaves through India and the world.
It's hard to believe something like that could happen.
It serves as a chilling reminder of the fragility of peace
And of life itself.
and the devastating consequences of political violence.
Consequences that can last for generations.
It's a sobering reminder of how quickly things can change.
Yeah, and how even the most powerful figures can be vulnerable.
And it's not the only instance of tragedy striking on this date.
Oh, no.
In 1992, a seemingly ordinary day turned horrific when Egypt Air Flight 9268 crashed into the Atlantic Ocean off the coast of Connecticut,
Another tragedy.
killing all 224 people on board.
It's heartbreaking.
It's a stark reminder of the fragility of life and how even on a day marked by historical milestones, tragedy can strike without warning.
It's a lot to take in.
It forces us to confront the unpredictable nature of events.
And the deep sense of loss that follows such disasters.
You're right, it's a powerful point.
So where do we go from here?
We've covered a lot of ground already, from religious revolutions to political assassinations, from the birth of nations to tragic accidents.
It's amazing how much can happen on a single day.
But there's even more to uncover about October 31st.
You're kidding. I'm ready for more.
Okay, so we left off in 1992, but the 21st century brings a whole new set of events to our October 31st timeline.
I'm all yours.
In 2003, for example, we saw a major political shift in Malaysia. Mahathir Mohamad, who had been prime minister for an incredible 22 years, stepped down from power.
Wow, 22 years. That's a long time.
It was a significant moment. Mahathir's long reign had shaped Malaysia in profound ways,
Yeah, you can't just erase that kind of influence overnight.
and his departure raised a lot of questions about the future of the country.
Like what?
Would the transition be smooth? Would the next leader be able to maintain stability and continue his legacy?
It must have been a period of uncertainty.
Absolutely. A lot of anticipation about what would happen next.
Speaking of transitions, sometimes those transitions are anything but peaceful.
That's true. In 2010, a horrific act of violence shook Baghdad.
Oh no, what happened?
A group of al-Qaeda militants stormed Our Lady of Salvation Church, a Syriac Catholic church.
A church.
Yeah, leading to a terrifying hostage situation and a tragic outcome.
How many people were killed?
58 people lost their lives that day.
That's just awful.
This event, known as the Our Lady of Salvation Church Massacre, stands as a stark reminder of the human cost of religious extremism,
And the ever-present threat of terrorism.
particularly in regions struggling with conflict and instability.
It's a sobering reminder that even places of worship meant to be sanctuaries of peace can become targets of violence.
2011 was another year filled with events on October 31st. On the one hand, Palestine achieved full membership in UNESCO, a major step towards international recognition and a cause for celebration for many.
That's a big deal for Palestine.
But this move also triggered a backlash. The United States, in protest, cut off its funding to UNESCO.
Really? Wow.
It highlights the complex web of international relations
Competing interests.
and how cultural heritage can become entangled in political disputes.
It's complicated.
It's a reminder that progress isn't always linear, and even victories can be met with resistance. Meanwhile, that same year, on the other side of the world, Algeria inaugurated a major infrastructure project,
Wow.
the Algiers Metro.
Cool. A new metro system.
The Algiers Metro wasn't just a transportation project. It was a symbol of progress and modernization for Algeria,
I see.
a testament to the country's ambitions and its investment in the future. It also represented a move towards improving urban life and connectivity for its citizens.
Okay, so a lot happening in 2011.
Let's fast forward a few years to 2014, a year that saw both technological ambition and political upheaval play out on October 31st. Sadly, the dream of private space exploration suffered a setback when Virgin Galactic's Spaceship Two crashed during a test flight.
Oh, wow. I remember hearing about that.
This accident, which resulted in the death of one pilot and the injury of another, served as a harsh reminder of the inherent risks involved in pushing the boundaries of human ingenuity, particularly when it comes to space exploration.
Space is unforgiving.
It sparked debate about safety protocols, the pace of innovation, and the responsibility we have to those who risk their lives in the pursuit of scientific advancement.
That's a tough balance to strike.
And while tragedy unfolded in the skies on the ground, a different kind of drama was taking place in Burkina Faso. President Blaise Compaoré, who had been in power for 27 years, was facing widespread protests and ultimately resigned.
Another long-term leader stepping down.
Compaoré's resignation after decades in power was a victory for the people of Burkina Faso who were demanding change and democratic accountability.
The power of the people.
It demonstrated the power of popular uprisings and the growing desire for political reform across the African continent.
So a sign of hope for democracy.
It's a reminder that even seemingly entrenched regimes can be challenged by the will of the people. And unfortunately, the specter of terrorism continued to haunt October 31st. In 2015, tragedy struck when Metrojet Flight 9268, carrying mostly Russian tourists from Egypt, crashed in the Sinai Peninsula, killing all 224 passengers and crew. ISIS claimed responsibility for the attack, sending shockwaves around the world.
That's terrible. Another act of terrorism.
This horrific incident was a grim reminder of the ongoing threat of terrorism and its ability to target civilians, disrupt travel, and instill fear. It also raised questions about aviation security intelligence sharing and the challenges of combating extremist groups operating in remote and volatile regions.
A lot of difficult questions.
And amidst these turbulent events, a glimmer of hope emerged in Lebanon, a country that had been grappling with a political vacuum for over 2 years. On October 31, 2016, Michel Aoun was finally elected as president, bringing an end to a period of uncertainty and paralysis.
Some good news for a change.
Aoun's election was a step towards political stability for Lebanon, but it didn't erase the deep-seated challenges facing the country.
Like what?
Lebanon's complex sectarian divisions, the influx of refugees from neighboring Syria, and the ongoing influence of regional powers meant that the path ahead would be far from easy.
A lot of obstacles to overcome.
It's a reminder that even moments of political progress often come with their own set of complexities and potential pitfalls. Sadly, the threat of terrorism remained all too real. In 2017, on a seemingly ordinary Halloween afternoon, a man drove a truck down a busy bike path in Manhattan, killing 8 people and injuring many others. ISIS claimed responsibility for this horrific attack, shattering the sense of security in one of the world's most iconic cities.
That's awful. I remember hearing about that.
This attack, carried out with a readily available vehicle, highlighted the evolving tactics of terrorist groups and the difficulty of protecting soft targets in open societies. It sparked renewed debates about security measures, surveillance, and the balance between freedom and safety.
Another tough balance to strike.
It's a chilling reminder that even in bustling urban environments, vulnerability can lurk in unexpected places. But even in the face of such darkness, glimmers of hope persist. 2018 brought a mix of emotions to our October 31st timeline.
I'm intrigued. Tell me more. Yeah, 2018 was quite a year.
On the one hand, we saw the release of Asia Bibi from death row in Pakistan.
Asia Bibi.
Bibi, a Christian woman, had been unjustly imprisoned for blasphemy for nearly a decade.
Oh, wow. I'd heard about that case.
Her release, following years of international pressure and legal battles, was a victory for religious freedom and human rights.
It's amazing what persistence can achieve.
It was a powerful reminder that even in the face of seemingly insurmountable odds, perseverance and advocacy can make a difference.
And on a lighter note,
While this story of hope was unfolding, India was unveiling a monumental project the Statue of Unity, a colossal tribute to Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel, a key figure in India's independence movement.
Oh yeah, the world's tallest statue.
This statue, standing at a staggering 182 meters tall, became the tallest statue in the world, a symbol of India's aspirations for national unity and its desire to showcase its cultural heritage on a global stage.
It's pretty impressive.
It sparked debate about the cost of such grand projects, their cultural significance, and their role in shaping national identity.
Those are valid points.
It's interesting how a single date can encompass such contrasting narratives. The release of a woman wrongly imprisoned for her faith and the unveiling of a monument meant to unify a nation.
Two very different stories.
It speaks to the multifaceted nature of history and the human experience. But sadly, on that same day in 2018, tragedy struck in Pakistan once again, this time in the form of a train fare that claimed the lives of 75 people.
Oh, that's terrible.
This devastating accident highlighted the importance of safety regulations and infrastructure development, particularly in developing countries, where resources can be stretched thin. It served as a tragic reminder that progress in one area doesn't necessarily translate to progress in others, and that basic safety should always be a priority.
So true.
It's a sobering thought. We're almost caught up to the present day, and our journey through October 31st is coming to a close. In 2019, Japan held its first general election of the Reiwa era, ushering in a new chapter in Japanese politics.
The Reiwa era.
This election reflected Japan's ongoing efforts to navigate economic challenges, an aging population, and its evolving role on the global stage. It marked a transition point with the new Emperor Naruhito ascending to the throne, and a new generation of leaders shaping the country's future.
Looking ahead to the future.
And of course, no exploration of October 31st would be complete without acknowledging its modern-day significance. Halloween.
Oh, of course. How could we forget?
What began as an ancient Celtic festival has transformed into a global phenomenon, celebrated with costumes, candy, and all things spooky.
It's amazing how traditions evolve over time.
Halloween's evolution is fascinating. From its pagan roots to its modern-day incarnation, it's a testament to the enduring power of tradition, the human fascination with the supernatural, and the joy we find in communal celebrations.
It's a fun holiday.
It's a reminder that even ancient customs can adapt and thrive in the modern world, taking on new meanings and cultural significance along the way.
So true.
It's amazing how a single date can hold so much history, so many stories of triumph and tragedy, innovation and upheaval. We've journeyed from religious revolutions to political assassinations, from the heights of space exploration to the depths of human tragedy, all within the span of a single calendar day.
It's been quite a journey.
And we haven't even touched on the individuals whose lives were shaped by or who shaped the events of October 31st. Let's take a moment to explore those personal stories, to add a human touch to this grand tapestry of history we've been weaving.
Sounds good to me.
So who do we have on our birthday list for October 31st?
Well, let's start with royalty. Back in 1345, King Fernando I of Portugal was born. He was known for his military achievements and his role in expanding Portuguese territory.
Royalty check. Now let's fast forward a few centuries to the world of art. In 1632, Johannes Vermeer, the Dutch master of light and shadow, was born. His paintings like Girl with a Pearl Earring are still captivating audiences today.
Vermeer's works are incredible. They offer these intimate glimpses into everyday life in 17th century Holland, yet they're imbued with such a sense of mystery and beauty. It's no wonder his paintings continue to fascinate us centuries later.
And speaking of captivating, how can we forget John Keats, the English Romantic poet born in 1795? His poems explore themes of love, beauty, and mortality with a depth and sensitivity that's just breathtaking.
Keats' poetry is timeless. His ability to capture the essence of human emotion, the fleeting nature of beauty, and the inevitability of death resonates with readers across generations. It's almost fitting that he was born on a day associated with the supernatural, given his exploration of life's profound mysteries.
It really is. And speaking of fitting, how about this for an October 31st birthday? Zaha Hadid, the Iraqi-British architect known for her groundbreaking futuristic designs. She was born in 1950 and went on to become one of the most influential architects of our time.
Hadid's work was revolutionary. She pushed the boundaries of architecture, challenging conventional forms and embracing curves, fluid lines, and innovative materials. Her buildings seemed to defy gravity, almost like sculptures frozen in motion. She truly reimagined the possibilities of space and design.
From kings and poets to artists and architects, it's incredible to see the range of talent that shares this birthday. But as we know, October 31st has also witnessed its share of goodbyes.
Sadly, yes. We've already discussed the tragic assassination of Indira Gandhi, but there are others whose loss we remember on this day. Robert Mulliken, an American physicist and chemist who won the Nobel Prize in Chemistry for his groundbreaking work on molecular orbital theory, passed away on October 31st, 1986.
His contributions to our understanding of chemical bonding were fundamental, shaping the field of chemistry as we know it today. And in 1993, the world of cinema lost a true visionary. Federico Fellini, the Italian filmmaker, known for his distinctive style and dreamlike narratives.
Fellini's films are like stepping into another world, a world where reality and fantasy blur. They're visually stunning, emotionally resonant, and often surreal, leaving you questioning the nature of perception and the power of storytelling.
And finally, we can't forget Sean Connery, the Scottish actor, best known for his iconic portrayal of James Bond. He died on this day in 2020, leaving behind a legacy that extended far beyond the world of espionage.
Connery's Bond was suave, sophisticated, and utterly captivating. He defined the role for a generation, setting the standard for all who followed. But he was also a talented actor who delivered memorable performances in a wide range of films, showcasing his versatility and range.
It's incredible how a single date, October 31st, can encompass such a spectrum of human experience. Birth and death, creation and destruction, joy and sorrow. We've explored revolutions, assassinations, scientific breakthroughs, and tragic accidents, all woven together in the tapestry of history.
And what's truly remarkable is that we've only skimmed the surface. Each event, each individual we've mentioned has a story waiting to be unraveled, a deeper dive just waiting to happen. It makes you realize that history isn't just a collection of facts and dates, it's a living, breathing narrative filled with endless possibilities for exploration and discovery.
Exactly. This deep dive's been a journey, but it's really just a starting point. So to our listener, we leave you with this thought. As you go about your day, take a moment to consider the significance of dates, not just as markers of time, but as threads in the intricate web of history. Who knows what remarkable events or inspiring individuals you might discover connected to your own birth date or other seemingly ordinary days. Keep exploring, keep questioning, and keep diving deeper into the fascinating world of history.